Every city has its rhythm. In Nairobi, it's not just heard in music, it's seen in movement. And once in a while, a vehicle comes along that doesn't follow the rhythm. It rewrites it. This is Opposite, a custom-built bus designed not for silence, but for statement. It carries no VIP, it delivers no speech. But when it enters a space like this, people notice. With fans perched on top, flags flying, engines humming, it becomes something more than transport. It becomes a mirror of the streets, of youth culture, of what it means to be bold in a city that demands attention. This is the story of a machine that earned its name by never following anything, but doing the exact opposite. Opposite was not born in a garage. It was born in imagination, in obsession, in the hands of people who believe vehicles aren't just metal, they're identity. And when it rolls, you feel that identity in every detail. You hear it in the reaction of the crowd. You see it in the pride on the faces of the young fans. It doesn't beg for attention. It arrives like it belongs, because it does. On this day, the capital waited. And when Opposite pulled in, it wasn't just a ride coming through the gates. It was culture coming full circle. You could hear the crowd before you saw it. People standing shoulder to shoulder, phones up, eyes fixed. Something big was happening. But no one was reading a script. There was no performance. This was real. On the roof, fans waving flags. On the street, that feeling of something unforgettable. It wasn't the sound system. It wasn't the paint. It was presence. And that's the thing about Opposite. Its power isn't just in how it looks. It's in what it means. To the people watching, it's not just a showpiece. It's a dream on wheels, a dream built from scratch, welded with pride, polished by passion. No 2 days are the same in this city, but when a machine like this moves, the city moves with it. Opposite doesn't speak, but somehow, it says everything. About the future, about the streets, about who holds the real influence now. It's not the billboards, not the headlines, not the suits. It's the young, the loud, the unapologetically bold. They built this movement, not just with tools, but with belief. And when they ride on Opposite, they're not just passengers. They're part of the story. A story about rising from the underground, about making noise in a world that often tries to quiet you, about turning art, music, culture, and machine into something unstoppable. Some say it's just a custom vehicle, but watch the streets, and they'll tell you otherwise. This is no ordinary creation. This is a statement.
Since the early 90s, public vehicles have been remixed with graffiti, music systems, neon lights, and more, transforming everyday transport into street icons. But Opposite was never meant to follow that trend. It was built to raise the standard. A tight-knit crew, artists, mechanics, engineers, came together with one goal: to build something the city hadn't seen before, something so bold it could park beside a national monument and look like it belonged. Most buses have passengers. Opposite has followers. This is not just about design or sound or popularity. It's about how deeply one creation can embed itself in a city's story. The way people respond to it, without a script, without direction, says everything. Flags wave not for politics, but for pride. Not because someone asked, but because something moved them to do it. The roar of the motorbikes behind isn't for show, it's a salute, a convoy of respect. And on the rooftop, fans are more than passengers. They're participants in something real, something raw. The joy on their faces isn't staged, it's earned. This is what happens when a machine stops being a machine and becomes a symbol of freedom, of creativity, of Nairobi refusing to blend into the background. It circles slowly, and every inch feels intentional, as if the city itself is holding its breath, watching something that doesn't come around often. There's no need for commentary. The crowd speaks louder than any microphone could. Cheering, chanting, some just standing silent, eyes wide, taking it all in. And here's the truth. In a world obsessed with fast success, this moment stands for something deeper. This is not a trend. It's not chasing attention. It is the attention. Because it's built from something real. Passion, community, rebellion, and art. And the fans know it. The streets know it. Even the skyline seems to bow in respect as it moves through. You begin to realize it's not about what this machine is. It's about what it means. It means kids who dream in sketches and paint cans now see what's possible. It means someone, somewhere, is already building the next version, even better, even louder. It means that expression can come from anywhere, even a body on wheels. And in a world where so many are told to sit down, this moment stands tall. Not just for show, but for legacy. As it completes its turn, the crowd doesn't fade. They follow. Some still cheering, some just staring, lost in the magic of what they just witnessed. Because this isn't just about Nairobi. It's about every city, every youth, every voice waiting for a chance to be seen. And today, they were.
Online, on the ground, across every platform and every corner of the city, its presence is impossible to miss. Followers, it leads. Mentions, it dominates. And challengers, they come and they go. Because for years now, one question keeps echoing across Nairobi. Who can finally match it? And the answer has always been the same. Not yet. New builds arrive with high hopes. Polished bodies, fresh interiors, clever gimmicks. But when they roll out, the comparisons start. And somehow, this one still stands alone. It doesn't rely on shock value. It doesn't chase trends. It has something far more powerful: consistency and charisma. This is the kind of creation that doesn't just gain followers. It earns loyalty. People don't just watch it pass, they wait for it. They film it. They chase it across the city just to capture that one perfect clip, that one soundbite, that one unforgettable pass-by. Because when it enters the scene, it changes the scene. And you can't manufacture that. What makes it unbeatable isn't just what it's built with, it's what it's built from. Loyalty, heritage, imagination, and that raw Nairobi spirit. Other contenders may come with more screens, louder speakers, fancier rims, and sure, they'll trend for a day or two. But then the conversation always circles back to one name, one machine, one force that, despite every challenge, still leads the pack. It's more than hype. It's earned respect. It's the kind of recognition that isn't given, it's defended. And if you ask anyone who's been watching the game for a while, they'll tell you, many have tried, but none have dethroned it. Because this isn't just about what it looks like on the outside. It's about the energy it commands, the emotion it sparks, the culture it represents. It has become something bigger than a ride. It's a benchmark.
a king. And whether you're filming from a rooftop in Umoja or a balcony in Westlands, when it passes by, you know what you're looking at. Dominance. Pure, unapologetic dominance. And maybe someday, someone will rise with something bold enough to match it. But until then, Nairobi rides behind a king that's still undefeated. And the crown? It's not up for grabs just yet.
Here's the message to the world. You've seen what we do in Nairobi. You've seen the art, the creativity, the energy. Now, show us what you've got. From the streets of Tokyo to the alleys of Sao Paulo, from Detroit to Durban, if you've built something loud, proud, and unforgettable, this is your moment. Bring your best, your custom cars, your tricked-out buses, your boldest street designs. Let's see the color, the sound, the madness, the kind that makes people stop and stare. Because over here in Kenya, we don't just ride, we express. We build with attitude. We move with soul. And if you think your streets can match this heat, we're ready for the global showdown. Post it, tag it, let the world decide. Hashtag Street Kings Global. Hashtag Nairobi Challenge. Hashtag Built Not Borrowed. This isn't about who has the biggest engine, it's about who has the boldest story. And until someone proves otherwise, Nairobi still holds the crown. For every artist who ever felt misunderstood. For every writer who ever believed in something bigger than themselves. Opposite is a reminder that the streets still write their own legends. That power can be painted, welded, built by hand. And that sometimes the loudest voice in the city is a machine that never says a word. So when people ask, what is it about this one? Tell them it's not what it looks like. It's what it represents. It is the dream. It is the defiance. It is the opposite of ordinary.